It's Thursday, the 10th of August, 2023. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and I'm not joined today by Sean Aylmer. I'm instead joined by Capital Brief economics correspondent Jennifer Duke. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get straight into story number 1 because it is a biggie. The Commonwealth Bank has reported a record net profit after tax of $10.16 billion at its full year results. I actually need to take a breath. That number's that big, $10.16 billion. It is a 6% increase over the year.
It's a very big result. The bank's going to increase payouts to shareholders, giving a final dividend of $2.40 and bringing the yearly total to $4.50 a share. Now, that's a 17% rise over last year, which will keep most shareholders pretty happy, and they can't be too upset about that profit result either. The last record for CBA was 9.9 billion-ish in 2017. Suncorp also posted results with net profit after tax reaching 1.148 billion for 2023. That's up from 681 million in 2022.
On the Commonwealth Bank result, did CEO Matt Comyn have anything to say about kind of cost of living, interest rates, all of that? Because it's always interesting to see what he has to say.
He absolutely did. He said that the downside risks are building in those areas, while the bank's mortgage customers aren't currently falling behind on their repayments to a level that he's concerned about. Rising interest rates have a lagged effect and are yet to be fully felt. Plus, the rising cost of living means higher expenses are starting to kick in. CBA spending data is showing younger customers are rapidly cutting their spending. This has an effect on businesses too, of course.
Of course it does. All right, on to story number 2. How about this? Amazon is building Australia's biggest ever warehouse. And I love this. It's going to be staffed by both people and robots working side by side.
Of course it is. There's another of course for you. The new automated fulfillment centre is slated for Melbourne's Craigieburn and will be 209,000 square metres. It's expected to open in 2025. Amazon does have a similar site in Sydney's Kemps Creek, which is about 830 square metres smaller, but the new Melbourne warehouse is a big signal about Amazon's commitment to a long-term future in the Australian market at a time when household spending, as we just heard from CBA, is declining. In June, the US retail giant forecast it would reach $5.5 billion in turnover in the next financial year. Its reported revenue jumped 50% year on year in 2022, but some analysts think budget-conscious shoppers will increasingly turn to Amazon to find those cut-cost alternatives.
Speaking of the cost of living crisis, Jen, leads seamlessly onto story number 3. The Australian Council of Trade Unions, the ACTU, is taking the crisis into their own hands by launching an inquiry into price gouging.
That's right. They've launched this inquiry and they've managed to get former Australian Competition and Consumer Commission Chair Professor Alan Fels to lead it. Professor Fels says the role echoes the beginning of his career at the Price Justification Tribunal. He is promising businesses this won't be a witch hunt. The inquiry is going to include public hearings and a final report that the unions will be using to lobby for policy change. ACTU Secretary Sally McManus has been criticising the current cost of living crisis as a profits crisis, and there's ongoing debate among economists about the drivers of inflation. And the unions have been warning that rising business profits are a significant driver of the recent inflation surge, and they're concerned that working class people are paying the price at the expense of corporate greed.
All right, moving on to story number 4. WeWork might not be working for much longer after the co-working space company issued a warning to investors that saw shares plummet.
Yeah, WeWork earnings and revenue fell much below expectations and shares then dropped more than 30% after the company warned that there was substantial doubt about its ability to keep on operating. It is suffering major losses and cancelled office space memberships. Its near-term future is going to be focused on cutting costs, including lease expenses, and it seeks to improve liquidity and profitability. In 2019, the company was valued at $47 billion when it was raising cash. Now it's around $166 million. WeWork was once New York City's biggest office tenant and last year had more than 370 office spaces in Australia.
From $47 billion to $166 million. That is extraordinary.
It's quite a story.
Indeed. All right, last one. Speaking of great stories, Jen, a deal is on the cards between Google and Universal Music to license singers' voices to use them for songs generated by, you guessed it, artificial intelligence.
There's so much about this story to be fascinated with. They're attempting to monetize deep fake songs, which have computer-generated mimics of popular artists. Now, it has been considered a big threat to the music industry, but the Financial Times is reporting that the tech and music giants are now leaning into this as a commercial opportunity. They're at the early stages of talk, so there's no products likely to be unveiled really soon. But major label Warner Music has also been linked to these discussions. Some celebrities and artists like Drake and Ice Cube have been concerned about the use of AI to fake their talents.
It feels like your own personal taste in music is creeping into the podcast there, Jen.
That is true. My Drake and Ice Cube playlists are off the charts.
I can only imagine. All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks, Michael.
It's Thursday, the 10th of August, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed Business News wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.